Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, November 18th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, SERP.com over the past week. We had a very interesting week. I got the privilege of interviewing a 20-year-old Google vet who's been working on search quality for 20 years. He leads the search ranking core team, which we'll get into more. We learned about a new Google algorithm update that we haven't heard about before, so stay tuned for that. There was also last week and again, another unconfirmed Google update. There's a local reviews bug that seems to have been fixed or being fixed. Google Ads is bribing people with $100 to let them auto-apply recommendations. Apple is at least 4 years away from building a search engine, to launching a search engine, and so much more. So definitely stay tuned. And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Wix. Wix is a great CMS platform and platform to build your website. They just launched a free edit by page SEO feature to edit your meta tags, your URL slugs, and so much more. It's a little way to basically quickly edit anything SEO related to on a page by page basis, which saves you a tremendous amount of time. So definitely take a look at that. And thanks to Wix for sponsoring. Okay, so first up, I had the honor and privilege of interviewing HJ Kim. I can't pronounce his full name, but he's been at Google for about 20 years or so. He's, obviously from the early days, he's been working on core search quality since all that time, including today. He's the VP of Google Search right now, and he runs and leads the core ranking team at Google Search. So he knows his stuff. And I interviewed him for XMX. A lot of great stuff. Definitely take a listen to that interview because you'll learn about what Google wants to rank. You'll learn about their desire, their motivation, all that type of stuff, which will help you make better websites that rank better. And of course, he digs into EAT and basically says EAT is everywhere. It is not just YMYL, it's everywhere. But one thing that interests me the most was that he kept mentioning the name Coati, that animal, and he basically kept saying it. I'm like, I've never heard Google use that term. What is that about? And he basically said that the Panda algorithm evolved into Coati. It was basically rewritten and built into Coati. Not sure exactly when. It's probably sometime prior to 2016, so it doesn't really affect you today because all that's now baked into the core algorithm. But we didn't know this. Panda became Coati, and that was very, very interesting for me to hear. But definitely take a listen to the whole interview. It's a lot of great stuff. And I guarantee it will probably make you a better SEO. Well, guarantee and probably at the same time don't. But it will. You will learn a lot. And as I mentioned, there was another possible unconfirmed Google algorithm update this past weekend, November 11th, November 12th. It seems like there's some type of pattern around weekend updates or unconfirmed weekend updates. It just might be like how things work. We've seen lots of weekend updates recently based on some tool sets, not really a SEMrush, but we'll see. And there's definitely a lot of SEO chatter over that time frame, a lot of Twitter chatter. And the tools actually, most of the tools, not all the tools, actually saw significant spikes on that day. So on the last weekend. So definitely take a look at that. You are not alone. Google Search Console added a bunch of new features, specifically around the shopping tab. One is they made it easier to go ahead and create a merchant account if you don't have a merchant account directly in Google Search Console in this tab. So if Google thinks your website has shopping-related, product-related stuff that you could buy, Google will give you this new shopping tab that has 3 sections. One is a product snippets, merchant listings, and shopping setting tabs listings. And it'll also give you product data, schema, structure data, issues, and so forth around your merchant listings. So definitely take a look at that. That launched a couple of days ago in Google Search Console. Google updated their documentation around review structured data, review snippet structured data. And they basically said that they recommend you put dots, not commas, but dots as separators for the numerical values when there are, when it's not whole numbers. So if you have a review star of 4.3, you want to use a dot, and not a comma. Although Google will support both, Google's now recommending not to use commas, but to use dots. There was a bit of a conversation on Twitter this week between Danny Sullivan and a bunch of SEOs talking about manual actions for rich results, rich snippets specifically. And Danny Sullivan basically said that a rich result manual action will lead potentially to the rich results not showing up for that site. But he also said, and let me quote, he said, but it is possible it could be seen as a broader spam manual action that involves rankings. So not only will your rich results potentially disappear from a rich results manual action, also it could lead to broader spam issues with your site. It seems like they're disconnected but connected. And I think, if you go back in history, in 2015, John Mueller said rich results manual actions only result in rich result issues. It doesn't result in ranking issues. He said that. But Danny Sullivan's saying it might lead to ranking issues. And I think what he's basically saying, I could be wrong, that once somebody has a manual action, that Googler who's doing the manual action may dig deeper into the site and find other spam issues. That's what I think. Again, this is a great conversation between Danny Sullivan, the Google search liaison, Brody Clark, Lily Ray, and a bunch of others. So thanks for that conversation. Another great conversation on the internet, not on Twitter this time, but Mastodon. I'm on Mastodon if you want to check me out. I think my URL is, if you set up an account on Mastodon and you go to the search box, type in c.im, C as in Clover, I as in Ice, M as in Mary, /@RustyBrick, you'll find me. Everybody seems to be migrating there, so I'm posting in both places right now. In any event, on Mastodon was a great conversation with John Mueller and Michael Lewis, basically talking about, you see a lot of articles that have hyperlinked words to other relevant pieces of content. Sometimes that's automated, and the content that's being linked to from the piece of that article may be about topic A, but linking to something completely unrelated. And John Mueller said basically it's most important when you cross-link words, which is a great thing to do, when your content that you're cross-linking is relevant to the stuff you're linking to. Don't just cross-link words because they're words and you have content about it. Cross-link the words when the article that you're writing about is relevant to the article you're linking to. Pretty interesting. I'm not sure how much that matters, but he did say that. Google's John Mueller also said that Google, yes, does pick URL patterns that actually don't render anything. Like, so if you ever see Google go ahead and crawl your website and add URL parameters to it that breaks the page or generates duplicate URLs of that page, that's normal. Google does that, but John Mueller said over time, Google will slow crawling such URLs on your website. So don't worry about that. Again, another conversation, Mastodon. Yet another conversation on Mastodon. This is between Dawn Anderson and John Mueller, basically saying that redirects from non-relevant destination page to a non-relevant target page won't cause that destination or target page to become less relevant. So just because you have a page that's redirecting that's unrelated to the target page, it's not going to go ahead and make that page any less relevant. That's what John Mueller said. At least he doesn't think so. So you keep that in mind. A nice little nugget there. Yesterday morning, Google rolled out a bunch of features that they pre-announced at Search On and other events over the years. Let me quickly run through it. Google launched Multisearch for food. So if you see a dish that you really like, snap a picture with your phone, type in near me as a multi-search factor, and it will find restaurants near you that serve a dish like that or exactly like that, which is pretty cool. You can also search for specific dishes by name if you want, and you can actually filter that stuff by pricing and etc. Google Shopping launched their AR beauty thing where you can match 150 different models representing different spectrums of skin tones and all these types of ethnicities and so forth. Google released the AR augmented reality feature for shoes, which is pretty cool. Google Maps launched Search with Live View. Google Maps also launched wheelchair accessibility filters. And my new favorite, EV charger stations. So you can find that in Google Maps. So that's pretty cool. Google launched all those features yesterday. I think some are coming out a little bit later, but most of those features are live now in the US English results. Glenn Gabe did a guest post, a rare guest post on Search Engine Roundtable this week, talking about the expanded version of Explore More. We discussing Explore More for a while, but now Google is expanding that. More people are seeing it, and they also now cover topics, people, and even companies. So definitely take a look at that article. Glenn Gabe goes deep dive into those features. Google's also testing a picture-in-picture feature for video listings in Google search results. It's not live for everybody, but this was spotted by Kashul. When you click on some image or video, sometimes it will actually launch the video in a little frame in the bottom right corner of the Google search results, which is a pretty neat feature. Google business reviews have gone missing after the suggest edits. So this is a big issue, but it's resolved or being resolved by Google. Mike Blumenthal caught this, where a lot of businesses over the past several weeks have been complaining my reviews are completely gone. Not just some reviews, but completely gone. And this has been happening after Google would apply suggested edits automatically. So what happens sometimes is Google will send a notification to the business owner saying, hey, we think your business hours should be starting at 7 and not at 8. Or we think we should change your phone number from X to Y. And nobody will respond. And Google then auto-apply those recommendations. So obviously, make sure you reply to those things and say no, because most of those suggested edits are wrong. So make sure you get those alerts in your account. But what happens sometimes is when Google makes those changes, they would actually change your CID, which is your unique Google identifier for your business profile, to something else. When they did that, the reviews would not move from your old CID to your new CID, thus vanishing all the reviews. Mike captured that very well. And then Google's Danny Sullivan, the search liaison, was notified of the bug. He got it addressed. It's now being fixed, and Google's going to go ahead and bring over all the old reviews that were missing. But that was a pretty scary bug, and Google's fixing that. Joy Hawkins has released another local ranking study, basically saying that recency of reviews, review recency, does impact local rankings for the better. So the more recent reviews you have, the more, I guess, review velocity you have, the better off your chances are to rank well. So keep that in mind. That's a very limited case study as well, but it was a pretty good one as well. Google local reviews also is testing showing not just the how many times that person reviewed things in that region, but also for that topic. So you can see here's a screenshot from Itamar, who basically showed that this reviewer has reviewed, 10 different pubs, 10 different bars. So that's something that says, oh, this reviewer really knows bars. So pretty good to see that as well. Also, beware of there's a spike in the number of people requesting ownership of your business profile. So there's a way to actually request ownership for business profiles that are already claimed. And Ben Fisher and others are saying, yeah, I'm seeing a spike in the number of fraudulent requests to take over business listings. So be aware, do not approve those fake ownership requests. Google is testing knowledge panels with new layouts. The new layout is when you go to the local knowledge panel, you click on a photo or a street view, it's now launching a new user interface for that. A lot of people are spotting this. I spotted this in the local search forums from J.S. Gerard, but Joy Hawkins, Shul, and so on. A lot of people are noticing this new layout viewer for local listings, photos, and street views. Google Post is also testing. Actually, it looks like it's live. When you do the Google Post or Google Business Profile updates, where you post an update, there's now, when you upload a photo, you can actually use a cropping tool, which is pretty cool. This is spotted by Claire. Nice spot. And Google Business Profiles now has a new attribute that you could add to your listings that says you are showing the World Cup in your, let's say, your restaurant, your pub, whatever it might be. There's a new, what's called showing the World Cup attribute, which you can add to your business profile, which adds a little attribute to your listing. On the Google Ads side, Google Ads seems to be bribing advertisers to auto-enable or enroll in automatically applied recommendations. There's an email is going out to a bunch of advertisers, either $100, $300, $500, I'm not sure the amounts, saying, we'll give you $100 if you go ahead and enroll in the automatically applied recommendations feature. And all these PPCers are saying, no way, I'm not taking your bribe. It's not worth the $100. I want to go ahead and review all these recommendations before they auto-apply. And then there was an information article saying from very good sources that Apple Search is at least 4 years away from launching their own search engine. So you have a while for that to come out. It would be great to have an Apple Search engine as well, because we have Google and Bing, and that's pretty much it in terms of competition. There's obviously smaller players, which, DuckDuckGo and so forth, but it would be great to see Apple Search, because they can really grab market share very quickly by making it the default browser search provider on their browser. In any event, thank you so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. Thanks again to Wix for sponsoring. Deeply, deeply appreciate it, Wix. Check out their new feature to edit by page, which is pretty cool. Everyone have a great weekend, safe, healthy, and I'll speak to you guys next. Goodbye.